Hello, and welcome to the Our Prenup Lawyer podcast, where you and I get to learn more about prenups as I interview professionals from the fields of family law, couples counseling, and wealth management. I'm your host, Libby Garabedian. Let's get started. The information provided in this podcast is prepared by Our Prenup Lawyer for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. The information is not intended to create an attorney-client relationship. This is not legal advice or a substitute for obtaining legal advice from an attorney. A person listening or watching should not rely upon it in any manner without engaging professional counsel. The podcast is intended to communicate general information and, because recorded, may not be current. On this episode of Our Prenup Lawyer, I'm joined by Marissa Greco. Marissa is a certified divorce financial analyst and financial planner with over a decade of experience helping individuals navigate the financial aspects of divorce. She co-founded Get Divorce Ready, where she works alongside her team to guide clients through divorce preparation, mediation, and post-divorce financial planning. Hi, Marissa. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Let's get started with Get Ready Divorce. How did this come to life?
hmm Yeah, so actually, I had mostly been working in my family financial firm for the last 10 years, and we help people with like retirement planning, tax planning, investment planning. But all of a sudden on TikTok, I was, giving education about finances, investing for women, but I started talking about divorce. And my first video, I think I posted giving divorce tips, blew up and got like 50,000 views. And I'm like, you know what? I think there's something here. Like, I don't think a lot of women know about how to go through divorce and get financially what is theirs, essentially. So then I kind of started making more videos and more videos on education about what to do in divorce, how to get prep for divorce, how to get prep for mediation, how to cut down on your lawyer costs. And it kind of just took off from there.
Wow. So big social media presence, and then you just
Mhm.
jumped right in.
Yeah, jumped right in. And in our first 2 years, so we've only been in business now, Get Divorce Ready, for like 2.5 years. And in that time frame, we've helped over 350 clients through
Wow.
full divorces. So we got, inundated quickly. But it's been great. And, we love doing what we do every day. We love getting to help women understand what is their finances and if they're going to be okay after the fact and how to make sure that they can continually thrive post-divorce.
So what services are offered at your firm?
So we do all kinds of things. Our main, objective is to help you understand the finances in your divorce. So we will look at all the discovery that your spouse gives you,
Hmm.
which, can be 2,000 pages long, 10,000 pages long, right? So we're filtering through documents and documents, going through to see what assets there are and what liabilities they are. And then from there, there's a lot of work we do in the fact of talking through asset splits. Um, should you take the home? Should you take the retirement account? If you take the brokerage account, what are the tax consequences? So all the financial jargon essentially that your attorney, divorce attorney, is not going to do because they don't have a financial background is where we step in. So we make asset proposals, property statements. We do separate versus marital property reports. We do some tracing and forensic work as well for people that are looking for hidden monies or marital waste claims, on anyone who has a gambling addiction, alcohol, or spent money on another woman and you want that money back. So we're getting involved in all the finances.
So what happens when someone's spouse is hiding money? How do you seek that out if they've made it really difficult to uncover?
So the first places you want to really look, one, pay stub. If your spouse is a W-2 employee, the pay stub is going to show, do they have a 401k? Do they have an HSA? Is there deferred comp? What kind of benefits are they getting, right? It's also going to show bonuses or stock options, and their base pay. So one place to really look is the pay stub. The second place I kind of go is the tax return, and the tax return can tell you a lot about what's going on. You might find there in the dividends and capital gains schedule like other accounts you didn't know about, right? You're going to find the income. If your spouse has a business, you're going to see the expenses that they're writing off potentially. So the tax return is really important along with the pay stub.
Okay, so then what is someone's plan of action once they found these hidden monies and they know what assets they're really dealing with?
Yeah, so, that's where you're kind of coming up with a discovery list, right? So what we do for our clients is we come up with a discovery list of missing assets or missing liabilities, and we'll say this was found on the tax return. This was found in X bank, yet wasn't disclosed, right? And then, so once you come back with all the kind of like tracing and forensics and listing of what is missing, then your attorney needs to take the next steps and either subpoena those documents,
Hmm.
so which means that they can go right to the institution and try to get the documents without your spouse's consent. So, for instance, if we find something at Fidelity and we know they have something at Fidelity, but they didn't disclose it, your lawyer can subpoena Fidelity and ask for anything under their social security number to be sent to you. Now, this costs money to do, but if someone's not disclosing information, it's a good way to get information. Another thing your lawyer can do is file a motion to contempt. And this kind of just gives your spouse like a little slap on the wrist, like you didn't disclose over everything and I need to see XYZ.
Right. Now, what if someone is worried that they can't afford to leave their relationship?
Mm. Yeah, this one I get often. I have a lot of women that are scared to leave because they don't have control of the money, right? The bank accounts are in their name. The spouses are maybe giving them a balance of 500 bucks a week or something to live off, nothing much. They don't have access to the brokerage accounts, retirement accounts. They're not on the home. And when all of that is in place, it doesn't leave you a lot of options to go get money to hire an attorney and hire CDFAs and hire forensic accountants and all the experts that you're going to need on your team.
Hmm.
So I come up with kind of unique ways to get funding to do that. Some of the unique ways I tell my clients to get funding, one, if you do have any credit, you can try to open 0% credit cards, right? Where they're not going to charge you interest for 18 months. Put your legal bill on there. Try to ask for the legal bills back or split that debt in the long run, and not get charged interest while you're going through the divorce process. If you're on the mortgage, there's something called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. This is another way to get access to cash using the equity in your house that you can almost use like a credit card. So if you have a $50,000 HELOC, you can use that for attorney bills, living expenses, etc. So those are two like kind of unique strategies that my clients are using to get access to money. Obviously, you can ask friends and family. That gets a little tougher. And if you are going to do that, you really should write up a loan agreement that this
Hmm.
is a loan and needs to be paid back, not a gift.
Right. Those are, like you said, really unique solutions that I don't think people are aware of. They just find themselves stuck in a position where they say, I don't have the finances, I can't move forward.
Exactly.
And with the mortgage and home buyout specifically, what do you do if you can't afford to buy your spouse out of the house?
Oh, this is a good question. Yeah. So a lot of the women I work with, are stay-at-home moms. They don't have an income coming in potentially. Or if they do have income, it's not a very large income. And they don't have then assets to buy their spouse out of the house. So usually what we try to do is offset the house buyout with retirement or pension. So if your spouse has more retirement and pension than potentially you do, let them keep that and you keep the house and offset the equity in the house. If you can't do that or they don't agree to do that, another way again is the HELOC. You can take on a HELOC. You can pay
Mhm.
your spouse out and slowly pay back the HELOC. Or you could do some kind of cash refi where you're taking equity out of the home, refinancing the mortgage, and when you refinance the mortgage, you can take the cash you need to pay out the spouse.
Okay. So again, there are options. They're just not, that's why you need someone like you on your divorce team.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, lawyers aren't CDFAs. They're not CDLPs, Certified Divorce Lending Professionals. I have one of those on my team as well. So it's they don't know all the ins and outs and all the strategies that might be available to you to creatively be able to get out of something that is really not good. So that's why I always urge people to talk to multiple experts. Talk to the divorce lawyer, talk to the CDFA, talk to the forensic, even just consultations to pick their brain to say, where would you go in this case? What are things I should be thinking about? Because ultimately, you don't know what you don't know.
Hmm.
And me even being in this business, I learn new things every day that you can do. So there's so much here that you can use on your side to get your spouse to see essentially what you deserve and make sure that you're getting a fair deal. I just think the resources out there, it's not talked about a lot, and a lot of women don't know where to turn. And the only place they have heard of to turn is a divorce attorney. But unfortunately, the divorce attorneys sometimes are very costly and also sometimes not the best at doing some of this work, right? They don't have a financial degree. So I find the best outcomes come when you have someone in finance on your team and then you also have the divorce attorney. That's typically when the best outcomes come because you have someone looking for your financial interests and your legal interests.
Right. Focused professionals who can really hone in on what they're there for. Now,
Exactly.
what's the number one thing people are blindsided by in their divorces?
Whoa, there's so many things. I could probably list off 10 things, but um, I would say one, uh, the amount of deception that's going on is actually kind of mind-blowing. Because I'm doing tracing work and I'm in bank statements and I'm in credit cards, like I see spouses who are gambling. I see spouses who have cocaine, alcohol addiction. I see spouses who are spending money on dating sites, taking women on, a plane ride to Cabo, other women, right? So
Mhm.
I think the amount of deception going on is kind of crazy, and that really smacks you in the face when you don't think that's going on.
When that kind of thing is going on, how do you
Mhm.
help clients rebuild financially after that?
I mean, we always start with a budget, right? Because if you don't know what you need, then you don't even know what you're fighting for. So you have to
Hmm.
understand after the fact, what do I think I'm going to be spending between me, the kids on a new home, a new place to rent, etc., or the current mortgage. And so we walk through that exercise. Once I know what they need, now we can plan around it, right? Now we can say, okay, by the way, you can't get on the mortgage unless you're getting 3,000 a month in income. So we need to at least get 3,000 in income either through alimony, child support, or a job, right? So it's that planning aspect. It's taking it one step further other than just thinking about right now and thinking about, okay, how's this going to work out post divorce? Because I have a lot of women I see, they fight for the house, for instance. And then they realize they can't even qualify for the mortgage 3 months after and they've got to sell it. So you just fought for this asset that you can't even get on the mortgage for and live in, right?
Hmm.
So it's kind of working out all these steps, future steps, um, before you get there, and that can be really overwhelming, which is why you really want an expert on your side who can walk you logically through it, through the numbers, and not just on an emotional basis because you're going through so much already. It's really easy to just make emotional decisions and not financial.
What was the most contentious separation you've been a part of?
Oh, geez. Well, I'm working currently still a case where the spouse has spent over $1 million 5 years on her divorce attorney, and the spouse as well has spent over $1 million on his divorce
Wow.
attorney. And the 5 years basically was just getting through custody battles, and now they're just moving on to the finances 5 years in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And he didn't disclose anything over, so everything had to be subpoenaed. There's thousands and thousands of documents subpoenaed, which is probably why the costs also were so high because he was very contentious. The more contentious the spouse is, the more you're going to spend, bottom line.
Hmm. Obviously, that doesn't sound like something that was planned, that each person would be
No.
spending 1 million in fees already. How does that work into your divorce plan and your budget for the divorce?
Yeah, I mean, my goal ultimately is to get my client through the divorce in the fastest way possible with the best deal and the best outcome on the backside, right? So what I want to make sure is that when we're doing things, there's a cost benefit analysis. For instance, say you want to get a forensic accountant because he owns a business and you want to value the business. Okay, well, is the business have any value, right?
Hmm.
So if we're going to pay a forensic accountant 50,000 to learn that the business is worth 50,000, that's a loss leader. Why are we doing that? So a lot of what I'm doing for clients is kind of always identifying what is the cost benefit analysis of doing this? Does it really make sense to do that and to spend the money? And also, I'm trying to cut back on lawyer costs by looking at all the financials so they don't have to look at the financials. I look at all the financials. I do it on a flat fee rate, not on a per hour rate, and try to save my clients costs that way as well.
Yeah, I imagine going through divorce like that, it can be hard to see the forest through the trees. And so, if you really want to fight for someone, having someone like you showing that cost benefit analysis is really going to be bring clarity on whether it's worth it or not.
Hmm.
Thinking about wealth and money management, if you could talk a little bit about your book, Bottom Up Wealth.
Sure. So I wrote that I'm still a part of the financial planning firm, and when I started in the business, I realized how many people just don't know about finance. I mean, we're not taught finances in school. Like you're taught,
Hmm.
I saw a TikTok video this week. It was like, you know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but you have no idea like how to create an emergency fund or how to write a check or how to do these simple financial things, right?
Hmm.
So that's why I wanted to create the book for my clients, really specifically, so that they could learn the principles of creating money. And I called it bottom up wealth because my family actually is from Italy. My dad grew up in Italy, in a very small town, southern Italy, Calabria, came from having nothing to moving to the US, starting his own business, and then helping people actually learn, how to invest money, how to keep money, how to retire with money and live the best life possible. So that's why I called it bottom up wealth because my viewpoint is that even no matter where you are, no matter where you come from, no matter the circumstances that you start with, that's not where you have to finish.
Hmm.
We can all learn the skills, and with hard work and discipline and persistence, we can get to where we want to get financially. And a lot of the things are basic. It's just that people are not willing to do them.
Right.
It takes a certain discipline to be financially in a good standing, and it takes planning. So you have
Hmm.
to be committed to planning and you have to be committed to reviewing it every single year. It's not a one-time thing. It's not a forget it. It's not a set it and forget it. You really need to be paying attention each year, making tweaks over time to your plan, making sure you're on track, looking at your investments, rerunning your retirement numbers, finding ways to reduce tax, re-looking at your budget. Did I spend too much? Did I spend too little? And ultimately, your legacy, how you plan to pass on money that might still be intact to your beneficiaries.
That's such an amazing resource, and I'm so glad you emphasize that it's not a set it and forget it. I think budgeting obviously isn't fun. Having to go over financials and see what you need to, how you need to adapt to move forward isn't always easy for people, but I'm so glad you've put this book out there and you're not gatekeeping any of these tips.
No, it's all in there. If you want to get the book, it's on Amazon. If you want me to send you the book, I'll send you the book. It's a really great resource just to understand the basics of financial planning and I do have a checklist in the book too, so that it's an easy checklist, step by step. This is what you need to be doing year on year end.
Excellent. Now, as we wrap up, what is one thing you want listeners to remember from our conversation?
Ooh. I think it's the fact that divorce is not a one size fit all. Like every case is so unique. One person might need a forensic and a CDFA. Another person might not need them at all. They might not need any experts, and they might be able to amicably get through it with their spouse. So there's not a one size fit all. There's also many different ways of going about it, right? In the
Mhm.
past, it was like hire the divorce attorney, that's it. Well, now there's so many other ways. You can get divorced online. You can have an amicable divorce. You can use mediation to save costs and time. You can use CDFAs. You can use forensics. You don't have to go a traditional route. There's so many different routes now that are available for couples. And I think that you really should do your research and see what's the best fit for you and your spouse. And it doesn't have to be this like contentious battle potentially.
Right. How can listeners reach you if they're interested in connecting?
So on my socials, it's at Get Divorce Ready, my TikTok and Instagram. So you can find me there. You can shoot me a message. You'll see my links there to my free resources and booking a call and all the things. So that's the best way to find me.
Thank you, Marissa. It was great talking with you today.
That's our show, folks. Thank you for listening to our Prenup Lawyer. Make sure to like and subscribe, and feel free to drop a comment below. Follow us on Instagram at Our Prenup Lawyer, and listen to us on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and watch us on YouTube. See you guys next time.